What's up guys, Jay here with Tap and Turn Gaming, coming at you today with an EDH deck tech. Today's deck is for this creature right here, and that creature is Derevi Empyrial Tactician. She's a 3-cost 2/3 flyer. She's 1 green, 1 white, and 1 blue, so she's Bant colors. And she's got a really potent, well actually 2 really potent abilities. The first one is whenever Derevi Empyrial Tactician enters the battlefield or a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you may tap or untap target permanent. So that alone is really cool. This deck is built around that theme and that ability. So this deck is really all about control and, you know, not letting your opponents do what they want to do with their creatures, or, you know, with any kind of, you know, thing that you could disrupt them by tapping it or untapping it or whatever. I mean, you can also target your own things as well. So, but the second ability is, a lot of people hate this ability. A lot of people think it kind of takes away from the overall, like, you know, ideal of commander, where, you know, you call your commander into battle, and if they get slain, they go back to the command zone, and then it, you know, costs you more resources essentially to bring your commander back into battle, because they're essentially kind of straining themselves to come back into battle. Well, Derevi has an ability where you can pay 1, a green, a white, and a blue, and put her onto the battlefield from the command zone. So that ability gets around the commander tax rule. So if Derevi, you know, if you cast her for the first time, she'll obviously cost 1 green, 1 white, and 1 blue. If she would die, normally she would go up, you know, 2 colorless mana the next time to actually cast her from the command zone. So she would cost 2, a green, a white, and a blue. That ability, you know, basically lets you cheat her out of the command zone right into play for the same amount of mana every single time. And there's nothing that says that you can do it only as a sorcery, so you could do this at instant speed. You know, to instant speed tap a creature down that your opponent's trying to attack with, instant speed put it into play and untap something of yours to use it to disrupt your opponent in some form or fashion. So that's a very, very potent ability, and a lot of people hate it. A lot of people love it. Derevi is kind of a hated-on general. A lot of people with the new changes to the tuck rule that they did, where if your commander would be shot to your library or to your hand, you can now instead put it into the command zone. So a lot of people were in an uproar about the change to that rule because of creatures like Derevi. I mean, overall, I don't think it's really a bad change, that change to the tuck rule, but anyways, that's more or less what Derevi does. She's a very, very potent general, and this deck is built all around pretty much of her ability of being able to tap and untap things. So that's my general. First up, we're going to take a look at the land base for this deck. First up, we have my lands that produce green and white. So we got Selesnya Guildgate, Stirring Wildwood, Sunpetal Grove. This doesn't actually produce colored mana on its own, but it's one of the storage lands. You can put counters on it and then remove counters to get, you know, colors of mana of those colors. So that's Salt Crusted Steppe. We got Brushland, a Temple Garden, and a Selesnya Sanctuary. Next up are my white and blue lands. Another storage land here in Calciform Pools. We got a Mystic Gate, a Azorius Chancery, Hallowed Fountain, Glacial Fortress, Seachrome Coast, Sajiri Refuge, Azorius Guildgate. Next are my blue and green lands, Temple of Mystery, lets you scry, so that's nice, Simic Growth Chamber, Breeding Pool, Simic Guildgate, Hinterland Harbor, Yavimaya Coast. So those are all my dual lands. Next are my 2 lands that produce all 3 of my colors, Seaside Citadel and Command Tower, obviously. What commander deck is complete without a command tower? Next are my two fetch lands. Evolving Wilds and Terramorphic Expanse will fetch me basics of the colors that I need. And lastly, actually not lastly, but next are my utility lands. Alchemist Refuge, being able to cast non-land cards as though they had flash is always nice. Halimar Depths for that top deck manipulation. And now lastly, my basics. I run 4 basic islands, 3 basic plains, and 4 basic forests. So that is my mana base for this deck. Next up, we'll take a look at my artifacts and enchantments, and we'll take a look at the artifacts first. Here is Sword of the Perrunes, 4-cost equipment that's 3 to equip. As long as the equipped creature is tapped, your tapped creatures get +2/+0. As long as the equipped creature is untapped, your untapped creatures get +0/+2. That's cool and everything. Mainly why I have it in here is you can pay 3 to tap or untap the equipped creature. So, you know, on theme with Derevi's ability, this allows you to manipulate the creature by tapping and untapping it for 3 mana, the creature that has this on it, rather. Here's Argentum Armor. Pretty cool equipment. 6 cost, 6 to equip. The creature that has this on it gets +6/+6. And whenever the equipped creature attacks, destroy target permanent. So more or less it's just there for straight up permanent destruction. Here's Conjurer's Closet. Basically lets you blink out a creature at the end of your turn. So very good to re-trigger enter the battlefield effects, and that's why I have it in there. Oblivion Stone, basically a colorless board wipe. And Thousand Year Elixir lets you play activated abilities of creatures you have as though they had haste, and you can pay 1 and tap this to untap target creature, so more on theme of tapping and untapping. Alright, so those are my artifacts. Next up are my enchantments. First up is the Asceticism, a 5-cost green enchantment that gives all your creatures hexproof and allows you to regenerate target creature for 1 and a green. So, very nice. Here's Bident of Thassa, 4-cost enchantment artifact. Whenever one of your creatures hits a player, you get to draw a card, and you can pay 1 and a blue and tap this to force your opponent's creatures to attack this turn if able. So, you know, if your opponents are turtling on some creatures that are just sitting there not doing anything, at least not doing anything by attacking, and they're doing something static, you can force those creatures to attack and potentially kill them in combat. Here's Glare of Subdual, 4-cost green and white enchantment that allows you to tap an untapped creature you control to tap target artifact or creature. More or less that's just in there. I don't think I've ever used it to tap artifacts unless the creature is an artifact, but I have it in there basically for being able to tap creatures down. So, you know, if you have this on the board and some creatures and your opponent declares their combat phase, you can, you know, tap a bunch of your creatures to tap theirs so they can't attack you. Next up we have Aura Shards, just all around amazing enchantment, 3-cost green and white enchantment. Whenever you have a creature enter the battlefield, you can destroy target artifact or enchantment. Particularly good with blink effects. Here is Frozen Aether, 4-cost blue enchantment that makes it so that your opponent's artifacts, creatures, and lands come into play tapped, so slows your opponents down. And Mobilization, 3-cost white enchantment. Soldiers have Vigilance, and you can pay 2 and a white to put a 1/1 soldier, 1/1 white soldier onto the battlefield. So it's just there to generate me some blockers early game if I need it. Alright, next up we will take a look at my spells, my instants, and sorceries. First we'll take a look at my instants. Small package, but pretty potent stuff. Momentary Blink, 2-cost white instant, allows you to blink out a creature and then it comes right back, so I mainly use this to re-trigger enter the battlefield effects or save a creature in combat or whatever. You can do so many tricksy things with this card. And you can flash it back for 3 and a blue, so I can essentially use it twice. Here's Cloud Shift, basically the same thing, just for 1 white. Let you blink out a creature and then it comes back to the battlefield. This is actually really good if you happen to steal one of your opponent's creatures. I do have a couple of cards in here that steal creatures from your opponent. So if you use this on the creature you stole, and then it will come back onto the battlefield under your control, not under its owner's control. So you can basically perma-steal something with that card. If you steal it, then blink it, it comes back, you permanently have control of it now. Here's Cyclonic Rift, 2-cost blue instant where you can bounce a non-land permanent you don't control to its owner's hand, and if you overload it for 6 and a blue, you replace the word target with each. So if you overload it, it returns each non-land permanent you don't control to its owner's hand. So pretty good blue sweeper. Here is Eladrimir's Call, 2-cost green and white instant, lets you tutor up a creature and put it in your hand. And Ghostly Flicker, another blink spell, but this allows you to blink up to 2 target artifacts or creatures and or lands for 2 and a blue. So just another blink effect to re-trigger abilities. Alright, next are my sorceries. Curse of the Swine, 2 blue and X to exile X target creatures, and then for each creature exiled this way, its controller gets a 2/2 green boar. So, you know, I'll gladly give my opponent a 2/2 boar to, you know, exile their, you know, Shieldred or their, you know, Kozilek or Ulamog or whatever. Here's a couple mana ramp spells. Cultivate, everybody knows what that does, and Kadama's Reach, it's the same exact thing as Cultivate. They let you search for 2 basics. One goes into play tap, the other goes into your hand. Here is Sleep for 2 and 2 blue. Tap all creatures target player controls and they don't untap during that player's next untap step, so you can use that to alpha strike somebody, or just slow them down if they're gaining a board presence over you. Wargate, Bant and X for a sorcery that allows you to search your library for a permanent card with converted mana cost X or less and put it into play, then shuffle your deck. I like this card because it lets you rip out any permanent out of your deck, not just a creature. You know, there's cards similar to this, like you know, Court of Calling and stuff like that, or Green Sun Zenith. This will let you rip out a permanent, so that's why I like it. And Supreme Verdict, an uncounterable Day of Judgment. Alright, so those are my instants and sorceries. Next up, we'll take a look at the 2 Planeswalkers that I run in this deck. The first one is Venser the Sojourner. He's really sweet. 3 in a white and a blue for a Planeswalker that comes in with 3 loyalty. His first ability is +2, exile target permanent you own, return it to the battlefield under your control to be the next end step. So basically it lets you blink one of your permanents. Really good to re-trigger ETB effects. His second ability is -1, creatures are unblockable this turn. I think that's a very underrated ability. A lot of people that play this card, at least me personally, I haven't seen his -1 ability played too often, but you can end a game just off of that. So that's a really good ability. And -8, you get an emblem with whenever you cast a spell, exile target permanent. So generally, if you get that emblem and you start casting spells, your opponent's probably going to go to scoop phase very soon. And my other Planeswalker is Gideon Jura, a 5-cost white Planeswalker, 3 and 2 white. He comes in with 6 loyalty. His first ability is +2 during target opponent's next turn. Creatures that player controls attack Gideon Jura if able. So, you know, again, if your opponents are sitting on creatures that are just sitting back doing something static and not attacking, you can force those creatures to attack Gideon so you can do something about them. The ability that I really like on him is the second one, -2, destroy target tapped creature. This deck is all about tapping and untapping things, so if I use one of the many tools I have to tap one of your creatures down, I can nuke it with Gideon by his -2 ability. And his last ability is 0 until end of turn. He becomes a 6/6 human soldier creature that's still a Planeswalker, and he gets all damage that would be dealt to him prevented. Generally don't use that ability too often because, you know, yeah, he gets all damage prevented to him, but that doesn't save him from, like, a Doomblade or, you know, any black kill spell. Alright, next up we'll take a look at my creatures. It's actually the last category of cards for the deck, and it's the heftiest portion. So first we have Azami, Lady of Scrolls. A 5-cost 0/2 wizard where you can tap and untap wizard you control to draw a card. Really potent card, very well known with the amount of tap and untap shenanigans I have in this deck, and I actually do have quite a few wizards in this deck. I mean, my general is a wizard. She's a bird wizard, so you know, just being able to tap an untapped wizard to draw a card is really nice. I mean, you can tap Azami herself to do that, and then, you know, if you have Derevi on the board, you hit somebody with one of your creatures or multiple creatures, you can trigger that multiple times and untap wizards and tap them again to draw cards. You can see the value in it. Here is Rubina Soulsinger, a 5-cost 2/3 fairy. She's one of the cards in the deck that I have that can steal creatures. You can choose to not untap her during your untap step, and you can tap her to gain control of target creature for as long as she remains tapped, and as long as you control her. So this kind of goes back to the cloud shift. If you tap her and steal a creature, and then you cloud shift the creature you just stole, now you can untap her because it's essentially a new creature, but it comes back into play under your control because that's what the card says. So pretty cool little interaction there. Deadeye Navigator. This guy. If you're playing blue, you should be playing this guy. If you have any kind of enter the battlefield effects, you should be playing Deadeye Navigator. Because when he's paired with a creature, he's a 5/5 by the way, when he's paired with a creature, both those creatures have pay 1 and a blue to blink it, essentially. So makes him and the creature that he's bonded to really hard to kill, and lets you just go buku with enter the battlefield abilities. Here's another wizard, Arcanus the Omnipotent, a 6-cost 3/4 that you can tap to draw 3 cards on his own. So just by tapping him with his ability, you can draw 3 cards, which is really nice. And he has another ability, you can pay 2 and 2 blue to bounce him to your hand. So if someone tries to kill him, you can save him with his own ability. Here is Restoration Angel, a 4-cost 3/4 flyer with flash, and when it enters the battlefield, you can blink a non-angel creature, and then it comes right back into play. So, you know, you can use it as a combat trick to re-trigger an ability, to save a creature from dying, whatever. Lots of cool things you can do with it. Another creature here that can steal stuff, Beguiler of Wills, a 5-cost 1/1. Another wizard, as it so happens to be, and you can tap it to gain control of target creature with power less than or equal to the number of creatures you control. I would like to replace this card with a Sour of Temptation. I just don't really have the funds at the moment to acquire a Sour of Temptation because that's a pretty pricey card. But you know, pretty cool creature nonetheless. Plus, it has that tap ability. So you know, if I meet that requirement, I can tap it, steal a creature, untap it with, you know, Derevi or one of the other things I have in the deck to steal more stuff. Mnemonic Wall lets me take back an instant or sorcery from my graveyard to my hand. Pestermite, 3-cost 2/1 with flash and flying, and when it enters the battlefield, you may tap or untap target permanent, so more tapping and untapping shenanigans. There's Prophet of Krufix, 5-cost 2/3. Basically a Seedborn Muse that also allows you to cast creatures as though they had flash, so a much better Seedborn Muse. Here is 8.5 Tails, 2-cost 2/2, that allows you to pay 1 and a white to give a permanent you control protection from white until end of turn, and then you can pay 1 colorless to make target spell or permanent make it become white until end of turn. So if you want to save one of your creatures from a kill spell or some sort of an ability, if the spell or ability or creature or whatever that your opponent's using isn't white, you can make it white and then give the permanent that you want to save protection from white. Here's Venser Shaper Savant, 4-cost 2/2 with flash. When he comes in, you can bounce target spell or permanent to its owner's hand. So, you know, if someone goes to cast a spell, you can flash in Venser to bounce that spell while it's on the stack back to its owner's hand, or something that they already have on the board. Here's Stoic Angel, 4-cost 3/4 flyer with vigilance. This is probably one of my favorite cards in this deck. Players can't untap more than one creature during their untap steps, so this is going to hurt my opponent a lot more than it's going to hurt me. With the amount of tap and untap shenanigans that I have, that, you know, clause where players can't untap more than one creature during their untap steps, that's fine because I have so many ways to untap my creatures, you know, that I can basically not really have to worry about that. So this card is a all-star in this deck. Here's Archaeomancer, basically a mnemonic wall that's not a defender, and it's a 1/2. Lets me take back a spell from my graveyard to my hand. Here's Miss Meadow Witch, 2-cost 1/1, where you can pay 2 a white and a blue to blink a creature, and then it comes back at the beginning of the next end step, so more blinky shenanigans there. Here's Arbiter of the Ideal, 6-cost 4/5 flyer with Inspired. Whenever it becomes untapped, you can reveal the top card of your deck. If it's an artifact, creature, or land, you put it onto the battlefield with a manifestation counter on it, and as long as it has a counter of that type on it, it's also an enchantment in addition to its other types. So again, you know, with the amount of tapping and untapping I can do with this deck, every time I untap this, I can look at my top card. If it's an artifact, creature, or land, I can put it right into play. So, pretty cool. Here's Vidalcan Aether Mage, 2-cost 1/2 with flash. When it comes into play, return target sliver to its owner's hand. I'm never actually going to cast this card ever as a 1/2 that will bounce a sliver. I use it for the wizard cycling. You can pay 3 and discard it to search your library for a wizard, put it on into your hand, and then shuffle your library. So the amount of wizards I have in the deck, it's a pretty good card to have. Here's a Darkar Valkyrie, 6-cost 4/5 flyer with vigilance. You can tap it to make it so that whenever target creature other than a Darkar Valkyrie is put into a graveyard this turn, return that card to player under your control. So if a creature would die, before it dies, you can tap this, and then when it hits the graveyard, it comes right back into play under your control. And again, it's, you know, got that tap ability, so I can abuse it. Dauntless Escort here, 3-cost 3/3. You can sacrifice him to make creatures you control indestructible until end of turn. Enough said about him, he's really good. Acidic Slime, green staple as far as I'm concerned for Commander. 5-cost 2/2 with Death Touch that blows up an artifact, enchantment, or land when it enters the battlefield. Here's Deceiver Exarch, 3-cost 1/4 with flash. And when he enters the battlefield, you can choose either to untap target permanent you control or tap target permanent an opponent controls. So more tap and untap manipulation there. He's particularly good with blink effects. Here's Mother of Runes, 1-cost 1/1, tap it, target creature you control gains protection from the color of your choice until end of turn. Just made sense for the deck because she taps to grant that ability, and you know, I can manipulate her and untap her to give multiple things protection. Here's Rune of the Hidden Realm, a 5-cost 4/4 with vigilance and trample, where you can pay 2 and tap him to blink target creature, and then it gets returned to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. So just more blinking creatures out mainly to re-trigger enter the battlefield effects, or, you know, in response to someone trying to attack you, you can blink out their big creature so it can't attack you. Here's Sun Titan, 6-cost 6/6 with vigilance. When he enters the battlefield or attacks, you can resurrect a permanent with convert a mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, so pretty cool. Here's Angel of Finality, 4-cost 3/4 flyer that basically Bajuka bogs your opponent. Eternal Witness, everybody knows what that does. Gets a card, any card back from your graveyard. Tide Force Elemental, a 3-cost 2/1 where you can pay a blue and tap him, and you can tap or untap another target creature, and if you landfall, you can untap him. So, many ways to untap him to keep tapping or untapping other things. Here's Karmic Guide, 5-cost 2/2 flyer with Prot Black and Echo for its mana cost. And when it enters the battlefield, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Here's Phyrexian Ingester, 7-cost 3/3 with Imprint. When he enters the battlefield, you can exile a non-token creature, and he gets +X/+Y, where X is the exiled creature's power and Y is its toughness. So I think this is also a very underrated and underplayed blue card. You know, if you want to be able to remove creatures and you're in the color of blue, this guy is really, really amazing. Plus, if you blink him in and out, you know, you can just keep exiling your opponent's stuff and he'll just get bigger and bigger and bigger. Well, I mean, his, you know, +X/+Y will reset every time you blink him and exile something different, but he'll get bigger every time. Kiora's Follower, 1 green and 1 blue for a 2/2. You can tap him to untap another target permanent, so more on theme of tapping and untapping stuff. Here's Blinding Angel. I consider this another all-star in this deck. A 5-cost 2/4 flyer that when it hits your opponent, that player skips their next combat phase. So, you know, if you're able to consistently go in for damage with this, I mean, it's a flyer, so it's got evasion anyways. So, you know, if you're being able to consistently go in and hit your opponent with this, they'll never have the chance to attack you, because they'll keep skipping their combat phase. Here's a new addition to the deck, Dragon Lord Ojutai, a 5-cost 5/4 flyer. He's pretty amazing. Or she. I don't know if it's a he or a she, but Ojutai has hexproof as long as it's untapped, and whenever Dragon Lord Ojutai deals combat damage to a player, look at the top 3 cards of your library, put one of them in your hand, the rest on the bottom of your library. So basically, when this hits your opponent, you can anticipate. So pretty good card, and you know, I can use many of the things that I have in this deck at my disposal. At my disposal, not disposable. At my disposal to, you know, untap this in response to someone trying to kill it or whatever, to give it hexproof. Here's Thassa, God of the Sea, 3-cost 5/5 legendary enchantment creature god that's indestructible, and as long as your devotion to blue is less than 5, she's not a creature. I don't really care about her being a creature or not. I just like that you can scry 1 on your upkeep and pay 1 in a blue. Target creature you control can't be blocked this turn. So if I have my commander on the board and I activate that ability and hit my opponent, then I can trigger my commander's ability to untap something or tap something or whatever. Here's Teferi, Mage of Zhalfir, 5-cost 3/4 with flash. Creature cards you own that aren't in play have flash, and your opponents can only play spells anytime they could play a sorcery. So your opponents can only cast things during their turn on their first and second main phases. Pretty good control card. Here's Mystic Snake, one of the few cards that I play. Actually, I think it's the only card in this deck that I play that will counter a spell. But it's a 4-cost 2/2 with flash. When it comes into play, counter target spell. I'm not a huge fan of counter spells myself. A lot of you are probably, you know, rolling over in your graves right now, me saying I'm not a fan of counter spells. A lot of people love counter spells. A lot of people will play lots of them in a deck that they have blue. Just in my play group or Derek and I's play group, we're just not a fan of counter spells, so we tend to, you know, stray away from them. But for this particular deck, it is a control deck, so I figured I'd throw that in. Plus, I can blink it in and out and, you know, repeatedly counter things and be that guy. So, next up we got Fate Stitcher, 4-cost 1/2, where you can tap him to tap or untap another target permanent, and he has Unearth for 1 blue. So if he's in your graveyard, you can bring him back for 1 blue, and at the end of your turn, or if he would leave play, he gets exiled. Here is Tidal Force. 8 cost 7/7. At the beginning of each upkeep, you may tap or untap target permanent. I'm probably going to replace this guy with something. I don't think I've ever actually got him on the board. His ability is really nice, being able to tap or untap something on every single player's upkeep. But he's very expensive, and I don't recall a time where I've actually gotten him on the board. But you know, just the ability that he brings just fit well into the deck. And lastly, we have Revelark, 5 cost 4/3 flyer. When it leaves play, return up to 2 target creature cards with power 2 or less from your graveyard to play. So that's pretty cool, and you can evoke it for 5 and a white. So I'm just curious now. Let's see, power 2 or less, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I'm not going to continue. There's lots of targets for Revelark in my deck. So, but yeah, that about wraps up my deck tech for my Derevi Empyrial Tactician EDH deck. It is a pretty fun deck to play, but sometimes it kind of makes me feel like kind of a dickhead sometimes, to be completely honest. If I get a lot of the right cards on the board, my opponent won't really be able to do much of anything. If you saw the gameplay of Derek and I, where he was playing his Animar deck, I just didn't really hit any, any of the really heavy hitters in the deck, and being able to come back from 2 Eldrazi's being placed on the board was kind of difficult. But I mean, this deck's fared pretty well in the past. If you're a control player, I would recommend playing Derevi. She's pretty cool. She's very potent general. So that about wraps up this video for my deck tech of Derevi Empyrial Tactician. But one thing that I do want to kind of call out before I sign off on this video is check out the video on our channel for our 500 subscriber giveaway announcement. If you haven't checked that out already, please do. Basically, Derek and I just talk about how once we hit 500 subscribers, we're going to do another giveaway like we did when we hit 200. I'm sorry, when we hit, I think it was when we hit 300. Yeah, when we hit 300. So we did a giveaway. It kind of correlated with our Ravnica Battle for Supremacy thing that we did on our channel. But this particular giveaway, if you haven't watched the video already, you know, go ahead and do it again. But Derek talks about how the giveaway will entail him making you a cut if you win the giveaway, which will be decided by a random subscriber once we hit that 500 mark. Currently, at the time of me filming this video, we're at, I believe, 386 right now. So whoever wins the giveaway, Derek is going to make you a custom commander card for your deck. So basically what that means is you can pick out some sort of like digital art from online, whatever you want to do, whatever creature you want it to be, and Derek will make you a custom foil card to represent your commander. And I'm going to give you an example right here. This is one that Derek made for me, and this is my custom Kalia of the Vast foil representation. So as you can see, it's pretty damn cool. Take it out of the sleeve, and these do actually have real Magic card backings. It's pretty beat up on the back here because the process that Derek does to make these, essentially he's, you know, like wiping the art of just like a, you know, a common, like a junk foil common, wiping the art off of the face of the card and then printing the art on translucent printer paper and then overlaying that on the foil. Because if you take a foil card and wipe the art off on it, the actual foil part of it stays. So as you can tell, this is a pretty damn cool thing. And this is my Kalia of the Vast. And also, on top of that, you will be getting one of these as well. Basically the same art, it's just in the form of a Magic card, like a full art promo card. So, you know, again, that's my Kaalia of the Vast. So this is more or less what you would be getting, you know, if you win our 500 subscriber giveaway. And Derek and I are pretty excited about that. We want to hit 500 so we can go ahead and do that giveaway. But we can't hit that 500 without you guys' help. So if you're not already subscribed to our channel and you're watching this video, we please ask that you do subscribe. We really do appreciate it. And tell your friends, you know, if you have friends that are, you know, into Magic the Gathering, let them know about our channel. We really want to get our reach out there and get more subscribers to our channel. You know, Derek and I really enjoy making these videos for you guys. You know, it's one of the things that I actually really look forward to when we go to film a video. So it's really fun for us. We really enjoy doing it. So again, if you're not already subscribed to our channel and you're watching this, please click that subscribe button and tell your friends, tell everybody you know about our channel, you know, and share the videos, share. You know, that really helps out a lot to get the reach out there and get more people aware of our channel. But yeah, that about wraps up the video, guys. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed my deck tech on Derevi, and hope you know, seeing what you would be getting if you won our 500 subscriber giveaway. I hope that, you know, kind of entices you to subscribe if you're not already, and share our videos. We really do appreciate it. So again, this has been Jay with Tap and Turn Gaming. Again, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff, and we'll catch you later. Thanks a lot.